Hey there, I'm Neil. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the host and producer of Pause and Rewind, the podcast that chats to changemakers, thought leaders and role models who all share a common goal. They're striving to make the world a more inclusive place. And, let's face it, we need it. Each guest has a unique story when it comes to doing their thing, and we often know who people are in the now, but how much do we really know about them? Pause and Rewind takes a moment to explore the experiences, realisations and relationships in my guest's life that led them to where and who they are now, because everyone loves an origin story. We'll dive into tales, anecdotes and a little of what makes our guest tick. So whether you're here for insights or inspo or simply want to know about your heroes, this podcast is for you. You might never know someone's story, but if you pay attention, you'll hear it, you'll see it and you'll feel it. So, are you ready to pause and rewind? Hey there, and welcome to Pause and Rewind for what is the final episode of season 4. This is episode 75. Cannot believe that I've had 75 conversations over the last about year and 8 months, and they've all been phenomenal. And this one, to wrap up season 4 and my final episode of the year, is no different. Oh my gosh, it was an absolute treat to sit down and talk to the one and only Charlie Craggs. I love Charlie. Charlie is an activist, campaigner. She was described as by British Vogue as the voice of the community. She's been labelled a powerhouse transgender activist, and she's just fucking brilliant. I absolutely adore Charlie. We met at the Natural History Museum a couple of years ago, where we were dancing to Blue at an awards ceremony. And we bonded fairly recently because I lent her my selfie light to take some selfies at another awards show. We've stayed in touch ever since. I was absolutely thrilled when she said yes to being a guest on Pause and Rewind. As I said, this conversation is an absolute belter. We cover so many different topics, particularly around softness and resilience and bravado, really, as well. So there's so much in here. Charlie really kind of she promised me that she'd put on a show. She's entertaining as ever, but there are some really soft touching moments here as well. There's something for everyone. Enjoy. Let me know what you think. Here's the episode. Hey there, Charlie. Welcome to Pause and Rewind. I am so fucking buzzed to have you here.
Honestly, I love you so much. I don't think you realise you are my saviour at every awards show I go to, where you always have this light thing on your phone that you like pass around the table when everyone's doing their selfies. And after that moment, I was like, I've used this too many times that at this point I owe you a favour. So when you asked me to do this, I was like, absolutely.
Well, firstly, you don't owe me a favour or anything. I love catching up with you out and about, and I'm so glad we get to sit down and do this. I am like a fairy godfather, whether I'm in a club or an event, because I'll see people trying to take a dodgy selfie and shit and I'll kind of casually glide past with the light and just
it's the best thing ever. It's so good. And everyone who's ever used it owes you a favour of coming on your podcast. So you need to start saying that's payment for using it at these awards. Because It worked for me, so I'm just saying.
Oh, well, listen. Well, I'm so glad that light brought us together and we keep in touch. I've been stalking you, fangirling for a number of years, and I love the way that you show up in the world. And I'm going to start with a question, and that is, what does the world look like for Charlie Craggs right now?
Right now, the world looks very cold. And this will link into my real answer, but just a fun answer. I'm literally sitting with a scarf on in my living room with my cat, Benny, my one-eyed rescue cat, on my lap.
Oh my God,
because
Benny.
he's trying to use me for heat as well. Where basically I bought a cottage in the countryside a couple of years ago when work was really good, when the world for Charlie Craggs was looking up. And it's, first of all, it's so cold, it's literally like a fridge, it was pre-insulation being invented, so it's just living in a fucking shed, to be honest. But in terms of the actual question, so that's kind of what it feels like right now. But in terms of what it actually feels like right now, I'm selling this said cottage that I bought when work was good, because work didn't stay good, and by no fault of my own. And for a long time, I thought it was a fault of my own. I thought, I've got too gobby, I've got too sassy. People think I'm mean or controversial because I'm known for my clapbacks these days. But none of my friends who aren't sassy or gobby, who are creators and influencers are getting booked even for the last 2 years. So I was like, oh, it's not me. Good. Okay. No offense to them. But I'm also like, thank God it's not just me, but it's just crap when my world has really shifted from, and luckily, thank God, I'm on the up again and like things are picking up slow, very slow, not as like, I can't afford, I can just afford to pay my mortgage at the moment. But so it's not amazing, but I'm just so grateful that work's coming in slowly again. I know it will get good again, but it's just a really, really weird feeling when your idea of yourself completely changes because your life completely changes, where you go from earning the best you've ever earned to the worst you've ever earned in the space of like a year, 2 years. And when I say the worst I've ever earned, I mean like I was earning more at the start of my career when I was a nobody. Like it's a really weird feeling. Like, yeah, and that's kind of where my world is right now. But I'm a fighter. I'm ready to go hard. And like I said, work's picking up again, thank God. So now that it's coming back in, it's made me so grateful for work in a weird way as well. Like there'd be times where you're spoiled and you're like, oh, I'm not doing this for this much. Babe, 50 quid, I'm there. Like, do you know what I mean? 10 quid, I'll do. I don't care. Like, I'm literally like,
okay, I'm putting out there to everyone, do not take the piss when it comes, I know you're joking, but do not take the piss, because actually as someone that works in DEI, as someone that works with a lot of speakers from marginalized groups, from our community, for example, there is the tendency to really take the piss.
Yeah.
Great to hear that things are on the up. And I wonder if you think that that's a hopeful sign that things are maybe shifting a little bit.
I keep talking to my friends at the moment and I feel like I'm onto something. And I mean, there's probably a million other people who've been saying this as well, but I've not heard anyone say this, but I'm pretty sure in the next couple of years, we're gonna, and I think we're at the start of it now, where there'll be like a shift, like a 2020, kind of how it was for the creators and not just the creators, but like speakers, NI people, basically anyone who benefited during 2020's kind of era of brands and corporates wanting to give money to marginalized people because of the way the world was, and they were trying to prove that they weren't like the world was when really they were. But and we knew it, but also like a coin is a coin.
Yeah.
And some of them weren't bad and aren't bad, and they literally just were just like booking us just to do the right thing. But I think the pendulum swings both ways. Like, we've gone out of, we were really in grace and we were all working crazy while it was good, while brands were determined to prove that they were political. And then just they done it, and then they were like, oh, we've done this now, we don't need to do it anymore. And then also with the rise of things like reform and Trump coming back into office and just the way the world was going, specifically for queer people, we've kind of fallen out of grace. And now I feel like with reform really like scarily taking like just rising and like looking like they're going to get a lot of votes, I think there's going to be a lot of brands who want to start aligning with us again. So I feel like, thank God, like it's perfect timing because I need a bit of money this time. But you know what I've learned is this time, and this is my advice to anyone listening, become or try your best to like set up like formats and things to become self-sufficient, so that when they lose interest again, when they chuck you to the wayside again, because it will happen again and it will swing the other way again, just make sure this time when the money's coming in, you're being very clever with your money. Maybe set up a business, maybe invest some money. I don't know, like we need to be smart so that while it's coming in, we're setting up practices so that we're able to self-sustain when it goes away again.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely smart advice. I did see just this week that Reform have got their lowest popularity than they've had in ages. So hopefully...
Really? Okay, yeah. I didn't know this. Amazing.
So hopefully that is also a sign of a bit of a shift. I think people are also holding brands and organisations to account a little bit better than before, and actually making sure that before I sign on to work with you, how sustainable is this going to be? Are you just going to throw us to the wayside again?
Yeah, I think I would do the same. I'd also probably like overcharge. I'd like charge a bit extra just to be like, hey, like you worked with me 5 years ago and then chucked me away because you said I got too political, even though I was literally no more political than I've ever been. Like, I'm not like a little teenager finding myself. I'm 33, all right? In the words of Gemma Collins, avert my divaship. Like, I've always, like, as in, like, I was working with these brands when I was a fully fledged frontal lobe developed person who has the exact same opinions, like, and it's as gobby as I was. So, like, it was bullshit to be like, I'm being a bit too political. I'm like, you booked me because I was political.
Yeah.
To try and save your ass. And then the minute that, because they were booking, like, if you think about it, there was a period during 2020, and obviously I benefited from it, where these brands were like hiring activists instead of models and even instead of influencers. And the activists were made into influencers. Do you know what I mean? They made us essentially, like, they took us out of obscurity where we were all working on our own political things, made us reliant on their money, because we were obviously, if you're doing that work, you're not able to do the actual work you're normally doing. And then also you get used to the nice money. I'm like, hello, like, as a working class person who grew up on fucking a council estate and free school meals, if you're offering me fucking $3,000 to post a picture with your shampoo, I'm gonna do it, and you would too. Do you know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
It's $3,000. I'm like, that was like what? That was like probably like a quarter of what I was earning a year back then. So I was like, absolutely, I'm gonna do it anyway. But then they make you reliant on that money in a way, because then you do things like I did, like take on a mortgage at what you think you're earning, and then they just take it away where they're like, actually, you're too political now. We don't need you. Like, I just wanted you to say love is love, actually, Charlie. And I'm like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're all bored of those sentiments now, because they're just they're not.
We were bored of them when they were happening, and I'm never going to say love is love.
No.
Ever.
You know,
cut to a clip of me in the future saying it where I've been paid a lot of money. I'll say it for a lot of money, but we know between us that I didn't want to say it.
Yeah. And also inflation, bitches. You know, it's 5 years on. You're going to pay me what I'm worth. You described yourself as a fighter. You know, you've been described online as the clapback queen. You know, British Vogue, the voice of the community. Also, you've been described as a powerhouse transgender activist. And that's always been the case, right? As you said, your activism, your campaigning, your stance hasn't changed or wavered over all these years, from the book to My Trans Sisters in 2017 through to how you show up. None of that has changed or dulled down.
No, not at all. I just think it suits brands at certain points, and then it doesn't suit them at other points, and you just realize it's very like, we're sitting in front of my Sky Glass TV, that they're one of the ones who dropped me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they were like, oh, like I didn't say anything wrong. I don't think I said anything controversial. Sorry if I said like fuck the Tories or something like that. That's probably the most I said. Like, I don't know what I said that was so bad to be deemed too political, but they were like, you know, it can be seen as a bit controversial. Like, I don't think standing up for marginalized people's rights is controversial, personally. And maybe if you do, I don't want to work with you anyway. And you pay shit anyway, Sky. Thanks for the Sky Glass, but it was shit pay anyway. You were my lowest paying ads, but anyway. It is what it is. I told you you're going to get your money's worth today. I was like, I'm going to give you mess.
I think people need to hear it, though. I think people need to hear how rough it is, and the fact that to be a public speaker, to be an influencer, to be an activist and campaigner, it's hard graft, and it's constant going out there and finding things. Things rarely fall into your lap. Yeah,
I had that feeling literally, like, I was, you know, sometimes when you're like going to bed and you can't really sleep and then your mind starts racing. And I just had this really weird thought of like, fuck, I'm going to have to do this for literally the rest of my life. Like, I have no pension. I'm self-employed. I'm like, am I going to just have to hustle for the next, I don't know how many years, like 50, 60 years? I'm like, I can't do this. Like, this is tiring. Like,
that's so interesting. So, I mean, I guess that if you weren't doing that, what would you be doing?
I don't know, babe. I don't know. I probably should. I don't know. And that's why I'm just going to have to keep going hard, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I went to uni for like fucking fashion communication. What am I gonna do? Like, what? Like, help! Like, I don't know. But having said that, I think not to be big-headed, but I think I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing, and I think I'm doing like what I should be doing as well as what I'm meant to. Like, I think like it will work out. There will be lows and there will be highs. But like I said, if you're smart, and what I've learned from this lull is like, it's not even, I don't even see it as bad, because it taught me a lot of lessons. But like, and it's also bringing me back to London. Like, if everything had stayed good in this cottage in the countryside, even if I've realized a while into it, I was like, it's not the right place for me. Like, it's lovely. It's such a nice, safe area. And that's what drew me to it, because it was just after I was attacked, when on that video where I was spat on. Do you remember that? Yeah. And I was like, I just want to live in a safe area where I'm the roughest person, which I did. And it's lovely. But having said that, I need to be in London for my career. Like, I just do. Like, I'm in constantly. It's a good trek in. So like, if everything had gone right, as in money wise, I would have just stayed where I am, because I would feel like leaving is a failure. I'd be like, well, I've bought this house, I'm just going to stay here now. I've spent too much on stamp duty and on lawyer. But sometimes things have to fall apart. like for the wrong things to fall away and for the right things to fall in place. So it felt like a failure. But if anything, I'm thanking God, I'm thanking the universe right now, because I'm like, it's really like, I wouldn't have moved back to London if this didn't flop. And I feel like in a way it had to flop for me to move back to London, for me to really take off, because I know the takeoff is really coming.
It is coming. Yeah. It's coming, and it gave you the peace that you needed for that moment.
Yeah,
and
you're that's actually a really nice way of looking at it. Like a bit of respite.
A bit of respite, which we all fucking need in this crazy world. Yeah. And I feel like it charged you up, gave you the chance to charge back up for the opportunities to come through. You are smart as fuck. You're an innovator. You're a creative. Like, the work is going to keep coming, and you're going to keep shining. And it's beautiful to see some of the partnerships that you've got going on at the moment, you know, particularly with Yotel, and like the fun stuff that you're putting out with Yotel. And I have, you know, no doubt that more things are going to come. And I know it was a while ago, but the Doctor Who audio series, right? That was so fucking cool.
I think I'm going to start acting, actually, from the back of that I was like, I'm not bad. I was like, because I've never acted before. And obviously it wasn't much acting, because I was basically playing myself, kind of. Because Juno Dawson, obviously you all know Juno, she was like, oh, I've basically written it around you, so you don't just be yourself, sort of thing. So when I was in the recording booth, I was just like, just being myself. But I think I'd love to be one of those, those actors and actresses who just play the same role in everything. J-Lo is the same, or not always, but mostly J-Lo is the same person in everything she does.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, like, I just want to be, I have no desire to win a fucking Oscar. I just want to be like the sassy trans girl, like the gay best friend. I'm fine with that. That will pay my bills and I'll be fine. So like,
typecast the fuck out of me.
I'm the funny, slightly plus size trans girl. That's fine. I'm not trying to make anyone cry. So yeah. That's what I think.
It was so cool to see that. And, you're just going to keep shining, because you bring so much fucking light and energy into every room you're in.
Thanks, but that's such a kind thing to say. But also you keep shining because you kind of have to. And also you make a choice too. Like, you're like I said, I realize I need to keep hustling unless I marry rich or I win the lottery or I go on Squid Game or something. I'm going to have to keep... Sorry, what?
Don't do that.
Oh no, as in this challenged Squid Game, the one where they're not actually shot. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not gonna actually risk I know I wouldn't win, so like it's fine. Yeah, but I feel like I need to shine, because otherwise that's how I'm earning my money. But you just realize, like, you make your own luck sometimes, and like obviously that, like, yeah, I do think I've been very lucky, but at the same time, like, you just have to, if you want it, you just have to keep hustling and just keep thinking, like, what can I do? And like, I just think as well, like this time as well, like, I'll make sure I'm doing things that aren't, and this is good advice for anyone listening as well, like, just do things that aren't at the beck and call of the brand. Like, so like if you create like a podcast or a YouTube or whatever, just make, or I don't know, or sell merch or make art that you're selling or write, or I don't know, just doing, first of all, having other streams of income, but because then also like when one falls to the wayside, like with me and like when my brand deal stopped for a bit, I would have still been making money, which I wasn't. But like if I was smart, I've learned that lesson, and I'll make sure that I do that. But also just so that you're not constantly relying on brands, rooms full of straight, no offense, white, stale, pale male, do you know what I mean? Those sorts, deeming you palatable as a marginalized person. Like, well, should we use Charlie Craggs? Oh no, she did say that fuck the Tories that one time. She did say that the Times can suck her transsexual dick one time. So let's not use Charlie Craggs, you know what I mean? The fact that you kept a straight face when I said that is so funny to me. But yeah, point being, like, I don't really like want to have my whole fucking livelihood riding on whether a room full of stale male, pale males, whatever the saying is, deeming whether I'm like good or palatable enough. So like, I think what I've learned is like, just make sure you're doing things that can exist outside of brand sponsorship, which is, I just would never ever let the rest of my life rely on brands sponsoring me. It's a nice plus and a pro, but I don't want it ever to be my be all and end all ever again.
Firstly, fuck the Tories and fuck palatability. It actually came up as a topic with Steph from London Trans Pride on here 2 episodes ago.
Oh, amazing.
A lot around the talk around palatability. You bring a lot of bravado and humour to your persona, and it's one of the reasons you are the voice of the community. It's one of the reasons that people love you. We're obviously just fresh off the back of Trans Awareness Week, but we all know that visibility and awareness comes at a cost, and that does come at quite a cost to you sometimes, in terms of the backlash that you get, the level of hate that you experience as a trans woman. And I wonder how do you take care of yourself with all of that?
I don't.
Right, fair.
I don't, darling. But also, like, I when I had my thought the other day when I was thinking, am I going to have to hustle for the next 60 years of my life? I was also thinking, I really don't want to do this anymore. Like, if I'm honest, like, I don't know what I want to do, but sometimes you're like, day, I'd just posted an ad and I was so grateful to have ads coming back in. And it just tanked in a way that I know it's not because of me, because the content is good itself and I'm not being big headed, but like as the influence of the year 2024 from the British LGBT Awards, I know what's good content and not. This is my profession. So like, I'm not just like winging it. But then also, like, on top of that, like, I could just see the numbers. Like, when I post something organic, the viral numbers, or even if it's not viral, it gets a certain amount of likes and traction and engagement. But the minute you have ad in your bio and the AI in the algorithm or whatever it is, however the machine knows that it's an ad and they want you to pay to promote it, I'm like, this is such bullshit that I'm like, I was saying on Instagram yesterday, like, we are the people who make your app, as in, like, I'm talking to like Meta and Instagram, like, we are the reason people are on this app because they're following their faves. And then you're punishing the people who are essentially bringing people and keeping people on this app and who are like, can make so much content for you because we don't like, as in this is our 9 to 5, but we can't sustain ourselves if you're going to fucking punish us when we do paid ads, like, so that they just tank your engagement and just like, then the brand's not going to want to work with you again as well. So like, that's why I think it affected me a bit, because I'm just like, having had my work stop before, I'm so like, oh God, this can't happen again. And like, now it's picking up. I'm like, really, like, I want the brand to book me again. But I think I was just in bed and I was just like, I don't want to fucking be like begging for likes on the internet, like when I'm fucking 60. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, maybe I just like, sometimes you just sit and you're thinking, this goes into your question about the bravado. And I'm like, I'm actually like, I don't think I expected to do this or wanted to do this. I'm like, if anything, I kind of like sometimes crave just to have like a quiet life. And like, that's, I think, what drove me to move to this countryside, to the cottage in the countryside. And just to like, I'd love to just like stay home and fucking make art. And do you know what I mean? Like, just be like an artist with like, not living on loads of money, but just like have a nice life. And I'd love to have a partner. And I'd love to like, just like, I've got my cat here. And like, do you know what I mean? I'd love to just like, sometimes you get that feeling if you're someone who is naturally quite like shy and maybe the bravado is a bit of a put on, you get the calling sometimes to be like, maybe I want to step out now. Like, maybe I'm just maybe I'll just never come back on Instagram ever again. And everyone's like, where the fuck did Charlie Craggs go? But Charlie Craggs is now just like living in the countryside painting. And that sounds lovely to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe you're the same. Are you the same?
Yeah, I mean, I love a quiet life, and I feel like I tell people I'm quite boring.
You seem like you're very like, you know, like you get introverted extroverts and extroverted introverts. I feel like you're a bit like that because you come across like you'd be super extroverted, but I think there's a softness inside you as well, like a shyness.
A real softness and a real shyness. And I think that since I got sober, I've allowed myself to lean into that a lot more.
Yeah.
But it came at a cost of changes to my social life, changes to my relationships, changes in myself, and reaching a self-acceptance that I wasn't always this crap. Don't get me wrong, you've seen me out. I love kind of moving it up and stuff. But there is more of a quietness than people would realize, and I've learned to lean into that.
Yeah.
And I like being soft.
Yeah, I think we should it's so sad that like some people aren't allowed to be soft as well. Like the bravado comes like as a defense mechanism, for me at least. Like the reason I am the way I am is because I was soft. Like I, as a child, was the most sensitive, like soft. And I think as a lot of queer kids, we're this way. And that's why a lot of us are super bravado. And it is a way of defending ourselves. Like if you make the joke first, no one can make the joke about you. If you are super, you know, sassy and like can read a bitch, people aren't going to start on you. It's a defense mechanism. So like but as a child, I was like super bullied. I know you were telling me you were the same. I think again, most queer kids are the same. And like, I only started fighting back because I reached a breaking point. And I'm so glad I did in a way, because then I've got really good at it and I've built a career off it. And actually it just helps my everyday life, just going out knowing, because not just as a trans person, but as a queer person, as someone who looks queer, in whatever way you look queer, you go out knowing that you're going to get looks, you're going to get started on, you're going to have people laugh at you. Your life's going to be, you're going to come into roadblocks where people are just like, in your everyday life, every day you leave the house. So you've got to go out knowing that you can defend yourself. And you can't do that if you're a really soft, sensitive person. So we have to build up these kind of like, these characters to be like, don't start on me, da, da, da. And I'm like, I'll read, like, do you mean I'm the clapback queen? But actually, like, I'm the nicest person, like, but behind the clapback queen. Like I said, I just want to live in a cottage and paint or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even good at painting, like, do you know what I mean? But I just want to I just want a soft life, because I think had I been allowed to be soft, I wouldn't be on Instagram saying, the Times can suck my transsexual dick. West Street is a big dodecahedron head. That's not who I'm meant to be. Like, I'm actually meant to be a really nice person, but we're not allowed to be because the fucking world is so hard on us. Yeah. And like we've had to make these bravado kind of like characters to defend ourselves. Yes, I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Firstly, shall we go to a painting class together so that we can...
I would love that.
Right, okay, cool.
So I can actually be a good painter when I keep saying I want to... I'm literally willing to give up my career to stay at home and paint, and I can't paint. So there we go.
Let's get it. I'm getting you a paint by numbers set for Christmas.
Yay!
With the topic of self-care, before we go into that, you're saying you don't look after yourself. And I guess, you know, in the instance that you're able to recognize that, because I think I'm someone that talks to other people about self-care a lot, but actually I'm really shit at putting it into practice. How do you find the resilience to go on?
I think partly it's through which sounds really sad, and it is really sad, but also it's a superpower. So it's not sad at the same time. It's like equal parts sad and incredible. It's like a numbness where a resilience where like it doesn't hurt, like in the way that like I think if like some of my like cishet friends, if they went out and were treated the way in a day-to-day, I don't mean a massive instance of like a hate crime, but just like being like laughed at and stared at and commented at, and people like, you know, like just like treating you like shit in your everyday life for just like getting on the tube.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be able to go to work. I think they'd have to call into work and be like, hey, I've had a really hard morning into work. I'm going to have to not come in. I'm going to have a break. I'm going to cry. Like, I can't. Whereas we are it's like water off a duck's back. We're so resilient. And I think it's just because like it doesn't hurt. So I can keep fighting. Like, I think other people, if they were being told like, oh, I'm going to I remember I had to call the police. I get loads of shit online, but like rarely it gets to the point where it's like, I get told I should like die constantly, but like I've had one fairly recently where he was like, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to rape you and then I'm going to kill you again. Like just madness. And I'm like, I think other people like that would make them want to come off Instagram, but I'm like, I'm fine. I just made a joke of it. He called me like a granny when he corrected it to tranny. Like, see, like, and I was like, I made a joke of it being like, granny, I'm 33. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can make it, like, I think when you've been through shit, you can make a joke of things. And like, so that's where it comes from.
Yeah, it's so extreme. And just to acknowledge the seriousness, whilst it is, people find it brilliant the way that you clap back and the way that you call people out and take them to fucking task online and make real dicks of them. It does come at a cost, right? And whether it is a death threat or whether it's just someone's outright fucking staring at you, sometimes walking into a place can feel like you're walking into a Western. You've walked into the saloon doors and all of a sudden everything goes quiet. You know, all of those scenarios, whilst you can become numb to them, they're a microaggression. They still grate over time.
Yeah, which is almost like why you have to almost like disassociate from your sensitive soft self and let the character take over. Like you almost are like a drag queen or a performer where like when you go into a certain place, you're not going in as yourself. I'm going in as Charlie Craggs from Instagram, not as Charlie Craggs who grew up in a council estate and was bullied by the boys on the estate. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going in ready because I'm in character. You know what I'm saying? But the character is just me and it's just another facet of my identity. So it's not like it's not fake or anything. But having said that, it was fake at one time. And like to anyone listening who is still really soft and shy, and I love that for you. But if you do want to build up being able to stand up for yourself, it's going to feel unnatural and a bit scary and a bit nervy at first, but like you just have to push through that, and eventually like you fake it until you make it. But once you've made it, it's you. Like I can't, even though it was fake, I can't undo that now. I can't ever go back and be nice Charlie again, which is so sad. I think I'd probably be like wiped up by now if I could just tone down the extremity of my character a bit. But you can't. That's the point of faking it till you make it. Once you've done it so much, it becomes second nature, and then it is literally just your nature.
Yeah. I wonder then, we're so many questions to ask, but I'm enjoying this conversation so much. is that I wonder then if you feel that there's a sense of loss from that, because I certainly, and it's a topic that's softness and sense of loss around this has come up as a topic again and again. And I wonder if it's something that you stand by, or whether there is a tinge of regret or a sense of loss over it.
Yeah, I do, if I'm honest. I like sometimes get really upset. Like I said, even thinking about like having a partner or something or whatever, but I sometimes think, or even career wise, like my career I'd be much bigger right now if I didn't have to like have this defense mechanism of like standing up for myself. Like if I could just be someone who doesn't have to clap back, maybe I clap back because I literally have to, like, but also I get a bit jealous of people. Like softness is a luxury, and it must be so fucking nice to be like, I look at some people who have a lovely life like and are soft, and they probably look at me like, oh Charlie, you're so like confrontational and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it must be so nice to not have to be confrontational. Yeah. If I wasn't confrontational, I would be a doormat. Like I would be a wallpaper. Like I'm not going to be a victim. If I don't confront everyone, and obviously I pick my fights and my battles, whatever. But like, if I don't stand up for myself some of the time, I'm not going to do that. So good for you that you get to have little Miss Lovely and like super soft and have a lovely life. Yeah, I don't guess there is a bit of a feeling of a loss of and a grief around that, and especially when you were naturally like that, like we both said that we were actually quite like soft as kids and like quite sensitive and not actually the way we are like. But having said that, it's the best thing. One of the best things in my life is the way I have become, and I think like it's a superpower. And I'd say the same about you. Like that's what makes you special. That's like the Neil that we all know, and the Neil that we love is like the bravado, the character like that. And that character is just you now. Like maybe at first, the point I was trying to make in my last question then is like, even if you're faking it till you make it, like you can. So like if anyone is listening who is sick of being a victim, me and Neil were victims at one point, and we just learned to stand up for ourselves and to hold like our power, and like you can too. Like if someone as shy as me, like who was so like cripplingly shy, and I would never argue back with people when they're being mean to me in school, like, and now I'm like, I wish I could go back to school so that I could do it differently and have fights every day, and then they wouldn't fight back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just saying that you can learn it. Like you can learn to be like us. I don't know if that's a good advertisement, but I'm like, maybe they don't want to be. But having said that, they can. Like you can learn to be what you want to be.
You can absolutely, and I feel a lot of the sadness that you've just been talking about, which is why I'm so now trying to tap back into it and not lose it, because actually it's brought so much to my life, being able to step into my power and my own humor and bravado and the way I show up in the world now.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have the career that I have, and I wouldn't have had the opportunities, but also I wouldn't have the relationships that I have now, particularly in our community, if I hadn't been forced to be this way.
Yeah, you wouldn't be having this podcast now. If you were like that really shy kid, you would not be talking on a podcast. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't be dressing the way you're dressing out on this podcast. You wouldn't have all your colourful clothes behind you because you'd be so scared and shy to be like, do you know what I mean? It's so like we wouldn't have met because you wouldn't be working in the industry that we met in. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so that it really is like a case of you can feel sad, but like as much as you lost, you gained. Like as much as the stuff you lost, you gained.
You gained, absolutely. I love that we first met dancing to Blue in the Natural History Museum.
Yes, I remember. I love that.
Amazing. Charlie, are you ready to pause and rewind?
No. I guess I am. Yeah, go on then.
Here we go.
Go on, I guess.
Here we go. Take me back. Tell me all about little Charlie. And I know you've kind of shone a little bit of a spotlight there, but maybe the Charlie that existed before you had to take on this bravado.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I grew up on a council estate in a working class family and a working class area in Ladbroke Grove in West London. I was sent to an all boys school in Hounslow, which wasn't even close to, like, if your geography of London is good, it's like an hour and a half away. But my mum was like, you're going to get bullied by Catholics. So rather than like I could go to the local school and be bullied, I was going to go and be bullied because I was raised Catholic, which is actually a nice part of my story in that I'm super, super accepted by my family. I've never faced any like question, like it was always perfect with them. So like that's a nice part of the story. But yeah, like I think going back to like my origin story, that's kind of where it all started. Is just like being a really like sweet soft, innocent, like feminine boy quotation marks or in that council on that council estate, in that school, that all boys school, that rough all boys school, and just like that definitely shaped me into being the super villain and the not even the super. I've been saying recently, because in my head I think of myself as a villain, but my friend was like, no, you're not a villain, you're an anti-hero. And I was like, I love that. So like I'm still good, like that I'm chaotic good. So like I am good, I never say bad things, like I am on the right side, but I just do it in the bad way. So I'm like, I'm the good one who just does it in the funny, sassy, bitchy way. But and then I just went to, like I said, I was like in this all boys school, this rough all boys Catholic school in Hounslow. And I was like pretty much like the only gay one. Like I was like, what's to say, an open game, like, you know, like all the whole school was just mean to me. Even teachers were mean to me. It was crazy. Like, and when I say mean, I mean like, homophobic, obviously. And to the point where like even like I was like in sixth form, like leave it. Year sevens would be being rude to me, as in like calling me batty boy and stuff, because it was just, you know, when you're just like open game or whatever the saying is, where like just everyone knows like, oh, we can all just pick on this one person, the one gay, because like no one else was really out in the school. Like there was people who were suspected. Towards the end, there was actually a bi guy in my year, but like he was very masculine, so like he was a bit more after a while he became a bit more like fine, but I was like clearly super gay. And anyway, and then I went from that place where I was like pretty much the only gay to a place where there were nothing but gays. I went to Central St. Martin's for my foundation year, which is like when you study art, you like try a bit of everything before you choose your degree, and it's like a year of just, it was one of the best years of my life. It was amazing. And so I went to this amazing, really respected university, but it was just like, obviously like art school was just full of girls and gays. So I went to being from the only gay to being surrounded by gays. And it was when I did that I realized that I'm not gay, which is like was the craziest head fuck, because I'd been told I was gay from about the age of 7. You know, like as a gay kid, you don't even know you're gay, because you're just being a 7-year-old, obviously, who's not having sex. And then you're being told by straight boys, oh, you're gay, you're gay, you're a girl, you're a girl. And so like, I was just told I was gay. So I really thought I was gay. And obviously I knew I liked guys when I reached puberty. I was like, oh, actually, like I do like guys. But I really clung on I was really proud of being gay. And that's why in school, like, I was out, and I was like, like I said, pretty much the only one who was out in the whole school. Like, and I was like, I'd make all my art for like my art GCSE and A-level about gay stuff, which was kind of crazy to do that in like a really rough all boys Catholic school where like even the teachers were kind of homophobic. And my art teacher, hi Miss Flynn, was amazing though. But like, I remember like embroidering like for one of my like work like courseworks like the word fag on my school jumper, and like standing at the school gates like
how old were you then?
So I was like 16. I was always very like politically like, and so this is what I'm saying, being gay was such an intrinsic part of my identity. Like I was so tapped into the culture and so like proud to be gay. So then when I realized I wasn't gay, I was actually like a trans woman. I was like, no, like this is not the plan. And I'm like, now I'm straight and I don't like this. And now I'm like, I'm not straight because I guess I'm more pan, like, but I like, and also I'm like trying to date bi guys these days so that I can at least be part of the culture a bit more. Like living in the straight culture is not the one, it is dead. But so that's kind of when I realized I was trans. Oh no, actually wrong word. Accepted I was trans, because if anything, I realized I was trans before I had a word for it when I was about 4, and I would tell my mum like growing up, like literally at about 4, like, oh, I wish I was a girl, just like throwaway comments, because obviously I didn't know you could transition, and I don't know if my mum even knew. I'm like, it just wasn't a part of our cultural conversation back then to like be, so she just assumed I was gay. And then it was when I was about 11 that I finally had a word for it, and I was like, oh, when I saw Nadia on Big Brother, and I was like, oh wow, you actually can do this.
Yeah.
So when I saw that you could do it, I was like, well, that's what I am. And I was like, but I didn't accept myself as trans from about 11 to 21. So like, it was about 10 years to realize I was trans, and another 10 years to accept I was trans, because in that period, the only time you'd see trans people would be when we're literally like on Jerry Springer, and like essentially the crowd is heckling for us to be beaten up on stage. Do you know what I mean? So like, I was like, I don't want to be trans, because post Nadia on Big Brother, like there was no positive representation other than that Jerry Springer stuff. So like, you had Laverne Cox kind of coming out in like the like early teens, the 20 teens, like, you know, like maybe, I don't know when Orange is the New Black was, but I'm guessing that was like about like 2014, 15, like kind of era. And do you know what I mean? That's like 10 years on, because it was about 2005 when Nadia was on Big Brother. So that's 10 years of nothing. Yeah. And then we had a couple of Drag Race girls come out as trans after their series. And I think that's what really helped me. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, like I can, because I looked at them and I was like, they seem really happy. Unlike the people on Jerry Springer or on like CSI New York, where it's like an actor who's like a man playing a dead trans sex worker. And I'm like, these Drag Race girls were like pretty, but also like happy and also like surrounded by the gays. And I was like, oh, I was like, I can do that. Like that's when it shifted, when I was like, it's not a death sentence. Like you can be happy and have a good life.
Yeah. Being out of school, what was support like at home and in your life around you? Because it doesn't sound like school was very supportive with having homophobic teachers. How did your family support you through a lot of what you were experiencing?
I mean, my parents I'm very lucky because, like I said, my mum is Catholic and my dad is a builder, which is obviously not a religion, but is as much of a cult as being from a religion is, in the way that you're a certain type of person with certain type of beliefs. So having parents from both those kind of like backgrounds, I'm very lucky that both of them accepted me as LGBT, and not just accepted, but like loved me as LGBT from day dot. Having said that, like there wasn't much support in the way of like, because I didn't come home and tell them about it. And not because like, I don't even know why. I think it's just because you just are basically told when you're queer growing up, you're going to be bullied. Like if you choose to come, they didn't tell me this, but like you see it kind of, you hear it from kind of teachers or like from, I guess in the spaces where something bad would happen and then the people would be disciplined, you would just hear like, oh, well, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna get that reaction. And I think you just believe like that you deserve it almost, or not that you deserve it, but that it's just part and parcel of the experience of being queer, and especially in like a super masculine environment. So like I was just like, I didn't really tell them that I think they probably knew-ish, but like I didn't ever express that I needed their help. So like it was only when it got to sixth form, and ironically, like you think the older I get and also the more time moves on, the easier it'd get. As in like as in the later the date, surely the more progressive we're getting. So like, but it actually got worse towards the end of my school years. So I'd done 7 years at this school, and then like towards the end, like I said, teachers were starting to be homophobic to me, like really like saying things that like I remember I cried once, because I think the reason I cried as well is because it's not like it was no worse. It was probably less worse than what the boys were saying, but it hurt so bad because I didn't expect to get it from a teacher. And so like, I mean, that's crazy. And really, I should have fucking sued the school. I'm so annoyed I didn't. But my mom, that's when I told my mum that she needs to come in, because like, that's unacceptable. And I just remember like the head of year, hi, Mr. Watson, really downplaying it and being like, no one hates you, Charlie. Like, just like in the way that like you see with any other microaggressions, like, oh, we're not, you know, when black women talk about like, they're feeling like, I don't know, like someone touching their head racist. It's like, oh no, it's not racist. It's just like people don't. It's like, it felt very much like that. It was like, oh, and I'm like, you do hate me, all of you, because literally I come in every day and no one speaks to me other than to call me a batty boy. So literally everyone hates me. So don't tell me that no one hates me. Like, and it was just very like gaslighty. And so that's when I had help from my mum. And then I think after that, I think we like said that I need to not be in school when I'm not in lessons, like, you know, in sixth form where you're not. So then there was like that. And like, actually, like, interestingly, the head of sixth form, he was actually quite mean to me at points, but then he was just a very strict teacher and I don't hate him for it, but he was gay. So I didn't know that at the time, but like he was, I think that's why he understood and then let me, even though he was so strict. And like I said, he was quite mean to me at certain points, but not for being gay, but like he let me go home between classes, I think, because he just knew how badly I was being bullied. Yeah. And the saddest part about this is that I get kids from that school now message me, gay boys who, and I think even a trans girl once before, who have messaged basically being like, they're being bullied, and like the what's it called, like pastoral care teacher, like there's like a guy who's like, he's got an MBE now, he's like amazing, like he's like this guy who's just been in our school for like I don't even know how many years, but like his whole life, and he's like this amazing guy, and he's just incredible part, like backbone of the community or in that area. And like, hi Mr. Booth. And he will send them my way to be like, oh, like there's this other like LGBT work. Because as far as I know, he's not LGBT, but like he's bought like my book, my merch, and he'll have it in his office. And like if an LGBT kid comes to him or a trans kid, then he'll be like, I get the impression he'll like tell them like, look her up and like she's a success story, like she made it through this, and if she can get through it, you can. And like they'll message me being like, oh, Mr. Booth told me about you and how amazing you are. And I'm like, oh my God. But the sad part of it is that they're getting just as badly bullied, if not worse. Like one of them was like saying, because for me it was all like, it was verbal with leaning towards physical, where like if I answered back it felt like it would get physical because they're just like shouting in my face like batty boy. But it was very like ostracizing, like psychological as well, like where like I'd like just wouldn't be spoken to unless I was being called these names. But this one of them was like, oh, it's like physical, like the police have had to be called. Like, so it really annoys me when you hear specifically straight people, like, you know, like a mum of a kid who's in school be like, oh, just kids don't care these days. My son's at school and there's a gay one in his class and just no one cares. I don't care if you're blue, you're green, you're this, that. And I'm like, girl, shut the fuck up, because like that your son is not the gay one. And also like and they probably see that they don't watch that gay one all day to know what they're going through. So like it just pisses me off because it's still so bad.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 10 years between us.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of decades between you and those people experiencing it now. And
allegedly a couple of decades. That was a bit rude.
I was just doing the maths, Dave.
That was rude. That was unnecessary. But okay, yeah. But you're so right. You're so right.
Yeah, but nothing has changed.
Really, not much. Like, I think the only thing that has changed, and to like spin this into ending on a positive, is that I think there'll be more allies now, where like I had no friends in school. Hopefully these days there's kids who are being raised by parents who are from a generation that have gay friends themselves and who are not fucking idiots because they're just like a bit more cultured, and like hopefully are raising their kids to not be homophobic and to like be accepting of that. And like if there's a gay kid in their class, they'll be like friends of them or whatever. So I think that's the only thing that might be slightly different, is that you'd have a few more people on side, maybe, and especially, and teachers as well. Like I've got friends who are teachers now who I'm like, oh, I wish you were a teacher at my school, because it would have been such a different experience for me. Like people who, like I said, have gay friends and have fucking read a book and are not ignoramuses.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a nice positive, that there's that. At least.
And there are people like you for those kids to reach out and look up to. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell them as well. I've said on Instagram before, if any kid is listening to this and you're not out or you can't come out to your parent, maybe call Auntie Charlie to come down to school, because I will kick that head teacher's door open and say, what are you going to do about this? I will say I'm your auntie. I don't care what your skin color is. I will say, yes, I am their biological auntie. I'm their guardian. And we're going to get this sorted. And I'm dead serious about that.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I don't doubt either.
You went on to do fashion comms at Central St. Martin's. So I guess, and we've kind of said you're not sure what you'd do if you weren't doing what you were doing now. What was the initial goal? What did you think was going to be the trajectory of his career?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I thought I was going to do like fashion, but that's just because I was literally just gay. And I was like, I want to do fashion. I have a passion for fashion. And then I started doing it on that foundation. I realized I hated like I like drawing like nice pictures of dresses, but I don't want to have to like measure like pattern cutting and stuff. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go into like kind of like more branding and like photography and styling and like, you know, those kind of, like I said, the more communication side of things. And that's what I really enjoyed. And actually I set up Nail Transphobia on that degree. So like Nail Transphobia is kind of what took me off in this industry. And I wasn't even supposed to, like I was literally just doing it for like 2 years without any press, without even a single bit of payment. I was just doing it for the cause for 2 years. And then, so just for anyone who doesn't know, it's where I used to travel around the country with a pop-up nail salon, and I'd offer people free manicures for the chance to have a chat with a trans person, so that while they're like asking, while they're getting their nails done, they can literally ask me or whoever was with me whatever they want, sort of thing, respectfully. And then like, but even if it's the wrong question, we tell them why it's the wrong question in a really friendly way. And like, it was just this was like literally like 13 years ago. So it was a different time as well. But and I did it for about 10 years. I'm thinking of bringing it back actually, like, because I feel like it could be a good time for a bit of humanity, a bit of remembering that trans people are people, because essentially you're holding hands with like a stranger while we're doing your nails. You're kind of holding hands, and like it's really like a weird bonding experience.
Absolutely, the proximity and the closeness, and again coming back to softness of touch. Softness.
And like just one-to-one and stuff.
Which people struggle with these days, actually. Which is a shame. So wasn't quite sure what you wanted to do. Do you think that looking back at your skills in fashion comms and just the way you show up still shine through today? Because you still know how to build a brand, which you built your brand yourself. Comms wise, you're so savvy and so out there, and your creativity, all of that is still shining through. And in terms of the way you bust out a look as well.
I mean, let's let the audience decide. Am I using my fashion degree?
Maybe
Probably
not now.
not. But I mean, like I said, I was more focused on the branding side of things, and like I have definitely used that. And like, I mean, it's literally, like I said, the reason I'm here on this podcast today is because of the project I set up from that degree. But then having said, like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm meant to be doing what I'm doing. Like, if anything, the more I get into this, the more I just want to be a personality. I have no desire to use my skills. I just want to be a mouthpiece in the way that someone like Nadia, or like for me, it was like Pete Burns as well. Pete Burns was my everything. Like, and Pete Burns changed my life in the way that the reason I am the clapback queen is literally because of Pete Burns. So like, I just think that's what I'm more interested in being these days, is like being in the media and like knowing that like queer and trans people, or even people who aren't trans, who are just like sick of being a victim, will watch me and be like, I want to be like Charlie. Like, she's nice, but also she can stand up for herself. Like, and I just want people who maybe are getting bullied at school or were bullied at school and like just want to like own their life a bit, can watch me and be like, she's fucking badass, and I wanna stand up for myself like her. That's what I'm more interested in doing these days.
Well, I mean, you're already doing it, and you're doing it really fucking well. Within Pete Burns, looking to Pete Burns and Nadia, then my next question was going to be, who is someone that has shaped you the most along the way?
Yeah, it would definitely be those two. They were on Big Brother at kind of similar points as well. Like, I feel like within 2 years of each other, maybe, or around that. Because I remember Nadia was on it when I think I was in like year 7 or year 8, and I think Pete Burns was on it when I was probably in like year 9 or something, maybe. I don't know, or maybe I don't know. So it was very close, and it was a really pivotal time in my life where I was very queer at that point. Like, everyone in school knew I was gay, like I said, and I kind of knew I was trans at that point as well, like especially after seeing Nadia, but like also I was going through puberty. I found my diaries from around then, which is also a giveaway that you're LGBT if you keep a diary. As a teenage boy keeping a diary, but also I was very much not a teenage boy in the things I was writing, because I was like writing in code about how I was having to shave, and I was so embarrassed of like having to shave. And boys don't think like that. Like, boys don't think, oh, I don't want my mum finding out that I'm shaving. Why? Like, what was going through my head to make me think that like I had to hide the fact from I was shaving from my mum? Like, that made no sense. But like, it was clear I was trans. But the reason those two are pivotal to me is because at that point, when I was very obviously queer and I was like understanding myself as a queer person as well, I was being really badly bullied. And then I started standing up for myself for the first time after seeing them. So like, those two were like notorious for standing up for themselves. And I just basically copied them. And like I said, it was a fake it till you make it thing, where like it didn't feel natural at first, but now it's like the most natural thing in the world to me to stand up for myself. And it was just pivotal, because I realized like I don't have to be a victim, because up until then, like I said, you're basically told as a young queer person, hey, like, you can be queer, obviously, we accept you, but if you're going to be queer, you're probably going to get treated badly. Like, boys will be boys, and this is the way the world is, and I'm sorry, but that's just like, and I was just like, no. I was like, no. And I just started giving as good as I got. And it was like the best thing I did, because you get a lot less shit when you're putting up a fight, because people get scared that they're gonna get taken down by a tranny, essentially. I mean, like, so I was like, I'm gonna keep going. If you want to risk it, if you want to fight with me, it's
on you, mate.
Dice, sweetie, because it's either you're gonna win or you're gonna lose to me. So it's your choice.
But either way, I'm gonna do it. Either way, I'm
getting a good slap in. And like the times I would fight would be like they would never start on me again. So I would suggest anyone listening to, not even if it's just verbal, just like, don't give up a good fight.
Yeah, it was when I started to push back against it that people started to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And then I got myself into some stupid situations. Like, some of my friends were, and I'm now in my 40s. I'm a lot more risk averse. I guess the fears of mortality and stuff. But I got myself into some crazy situations where I was just like, I refused to back down. And then I was like, what am I? And friends were like, what are you doing? Like, this is actually quite dangerous. Like, and I was just like, no holds barred kind of thing. Both Pete Burns and Nadia loved for very different reasons in how they show up. And that was just, it felt like a softer time back then, even as long ago as Nadia was so loved.
Yeah, well, if you think like the way she was, there was bad press as well. Like, I remember like
there's something about Miriam. Do you remember that show?
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
Yeah, and like, but having said that, Nadia was so beloved. Like, she was the people's like favorite winner or something. Like, she won with the biggest margin of like a winner ever, I think. And if you think like that was the way she was, just like I said, it wasn't perfect. Like, there was like jibes like in the press, like trans jokes and stuff, but mostly it was good. And if you think like that's so different to like how a trans person is treated now by the public and by the press, like as a whole, like obviously like the narrative, like the main narrative. Like, if Nadia was on Big Brother now, you'd have fucking ugly women with ugly haircuts being on GB News being like, she shouldn't be using the women's toilet in that house. They should make a toilet for her in a shed outside. And literally that's what we'd be having if Nadia was a Big Brother now. That it would not be the same. they'd literally be misgendering her like on air, like saying like she should be called like he and stuff. Like it'd be crazy. They'd be like, it's just mad.
Yeah. Hoping this shift comes, that we move.
We're going to make it come, Neil. We have to.
We have to. Talk to me about a lesson that you've learned about yourself along the way.
A lesson I've learned about myself along the way. God. I mean, it's basically just echoing everything I've said, but just like, I guess just like the resilience, like, and also like sometimes the lesson, like, it can surprise you where like I had it once where like, this is like years ago now, but I remember just once like sitting on the train and just like having it hit me like a ton of bricks, like, and just like being really moved that I could have even cried. I just realized like how far I'd come in that when I remember crystal clear the first time I stepped on the tube, the first day I was like presenting as myself, like as in like had gone out the house in like girl clothes and a wig and makeup and stuff, and like was trying to be read by the world as who I felt inside. And it was like one of the scariest days of my life. Like it was so scary. And like step on that tube carriage, I remember like feeling like, because you're essentially like just like boxed in with a bunch of strangers who could all start on you, like, or like takes one person. So I like faced like the back of the carriage, I like faced like the door, like so that it wasn't even packed, but I just like stood right in the corner, like faced the door, because I didn't want anyone seeing my face because I just knew I looked awful and it was really embarrassing. And then it caught me like one day on just like a random Tuesday afternoon one day or something where I just like sat on the tube, no makeup on, just sat like a slob, like, do you know what I mean? Just super comfortable. I was like reading a book in a tracksuit on the tube, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, it's the anniversary of that day. And look how comfortable I've become. Like, it's amazing. Like the resilience I have and that the human spirit has and the strength to like, I was just so amazed at myself. And I think that's one of the things I learned is like that I'm just strong and but that we're all strong and that you just can do it. And like, even if you think you can't do it, it's just a case of getting through it day by day. And eventually you just like build up a thick enough skin and just make the decisions in your life to just like make it easier in any way you can. And you just get to a point where it's like you're a different person. That was amazing. That was like really amazing. And I don't take that for granted even to this day. Like I just really will always remember that girl who was so scared, like scared, and how I'm just like so at peace with myself now.
My final question for this segment, Charlie, is looking back so far, what are you most proud of to date?
Most proud of, I would say, I mean, one of the things I get really proud of is because this is like essentially like who I'm doing it for is for like I said, for people coming behind me, whether that be in age or in terms of like age of like their queerness, like they might have just come out as queer, they could be older than me, but just to like, I had it's like, I think it's pinned on my profile where like a kid dressed up as me for World Book Day. And I was like, oh my God. And like her mum messaged me and was like, oh, like just that she like really looks up to me. And obviously she will only show her the stuff that's like PG that I do. She can't show her everything I do. But and just like knowing that like it like essentially like that was for me what Nard, and like when she was like posing as me, she was being very sassy and stuff, and I was just like, she doesn't realize it, but like she's gonna need to like see my videos, un-PG ones, when she reaches like school, so that she can like learn to defend herself. But it's like she loves me because I'm sassy and stand up for myself. And like when I sent her like a little thank you gift, I was like, can I have your address? I can send her a little hamper of like a thank you gift. And I wrote a card with it, and I was just like, I wrote some nice stuff, but then at the end I was just like, and just so you know, like if you ever need me, like tell your mum to call Auntie Charlie and I'll come, and like like just as in like I'm ready to fight, because like, that's my baby now, like that's that's my niece. So yeah, I was dead serious. Just like I guess like seeing that the goal for me was always like, I want to be like kind of what Pete Burns and Nadia were to me for someone else. And that I guess showed me that I was, and that was really nice.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Auntie Charlie coming through.
Hi Noah, if you're listening. I love Noah, yeah.
The House of Happiness is London's ultimate sober clubbing extravaganza. We're led and delivered but created for all, whether teetotal, sober curious, or just taking a booze snooze. We love a day raid, and on a Saturday afternoon you can expect banging house tunes, DJs on decks, dancers on podiums, and a fully stocked alcohol-free bar. Flamboyant, bold, with a glitter station to boot. We're all about safe, inclusive fun, and we even have a pre-meet so that you can make new sober buddies before you hit the dance floor. Grab your tickets from Instagram now at House of Happiness Official, and we'll see you on the dance floor.
Charlie, are you ready for some quickfire questions?
Yes.
What album, book, or movie has had a lasting impact on you?
Oh my God. Album, book, or movie? Movie Spice World.
Love.
Because when I saw Posh Spice come out in the army little dress and all the other girls came out in army normal clothes, I was like, diva, that's me. I literally like saw myself reflected for the first time.
Posh Spice, your favourite Spice Girl?
Of course,
Okay.
yes.
Mine was Jerry before she got a bit weird, and now it's 40. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, it actually makes sense.
I actually had blonde hair with a ginger streak. Did it the other way around.
God.
Yeah. What's a saying you live by and one that you'd put in the bin?
Whatever's meant for you won't pass you by, and like that sort of thing. And it also, like, by default, like whatever's not meant for you, it's just not meant for you. So like I think that's really nice, just because especially when you're going through a hard time, it just gives you a sense of like a bigger picture.
Yeah. And what about one for the bin?
One for the bin.
I mean, love is love.
Oh, love it. You're so good at this. Love is love, yeah. 100% love is love. Why was that even invented? I hate that so much.
What's been the best adventure of your life so far?
The best adventure of my life? I mean, I would say even just like Nail Transphobia, like starting that, like I said, for like 2 years I did it, literally just like doing it for free, just doing it for the cause, for the community. And then like saying yes one day, like I had a message from Vice magazine being like, it was their old feminist channel broadly. And they were like, oh, we'd love to do a piece on this. And I was just like, oh, I don't know, to be honest. Like I've always said no to press. Like I don't really, I'm not doing it for that. And then like when I said yes, it's like my life changed. Like I did a book from it. I did a BBC documentary from it. I've got a following from it and do like my content online from it. I'm like hopefully doing bigger things after this from it. Do you know what I mean? Like everything I've been granted has been because of that one idea I had when I was 21, which is mad. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mad when you think about it, that like so much can come from just one decision.
Yeah, amazing to look back on, and exciting to see what's next. What 3 words would you use to describe you and your origin story?
What 3 words? I mean, Nadia had a saying in the house that I was an impression of, and it could be it was more of like it's not 3 words, but you could make it into 3 words, where she was like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So like that, when I saw her like standing up for herself and she said, what you gonna do? To the horrible Jason in the house, that's when I kind of started standing up for myself. So what you gonna do?
I love that. Have you met Nadia?
No, I wish. But she did once comment back to me being like, Charlie, you remind me of a younger me, like the way you are, like the way you're like. And I was like, that is the full circle moment that I need for my life.
I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, it's been beautiful to see her back in the spotlight talking about things these days.
I would love her. I mean, obviously she's got to do what's right for her, because I know that her mental health wasn't great after she did like a second round on Big Brother. Like she had a bit of a fall from grace, stupidly. It's not really fair. But so she's got to do what's right for her. So only if it's good for her. But I would love her she's so beloved, and like she's just so great, because when she did come back like last year and started doing like a bit on Loose Women and a bit in here and there, she was just so what we loved about her, like straight away. Like she's so likable.
That series was crazy. That initial series.
The fight. Do you remember the fight?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Let's fast forward a little bit. What exciting things do you have coming up?
I guess this is a nice one, is that so I, off the back of that viral moment of mine where I was spat on the tube, and then I took it to court, and I basically got like no justice in court, even though the boy like admitted it and stuff. And if anything, I was like told off more than he was, because I filmed someone without their consent, underage, even though I didn't know he was underage, obviously. I, off the back of that, set up Nail Transphobia. Off the back of that, I set up Charlie's Angels, my self-defense initiative, Charlie's Angels self-defense classes, where I offer basically free self-defense classes to trans people who, just because in that moment I was like, why the fuck have I never learned how to defend myself? Because obviously, like I said, as a queer person, you're going through the world with people starting on you more than your fair share. So you should know how to defend yourself, because it can become physical. And like, I just never learn. And I was like, I need to learn. So like, I was like, if I'm feeling like this, I know that all my trans friends are probably feeling like this, because I don't think any of them, and I asked them, and like none of them have ever done a self-defense class either, because I think as well, there's like the block of it, like feeling like, not for us in the way that like maybe like to go to one, you'd have to go to like a really like masculine environment, like a gym where like you're going to be like having the guys come out of the gym, like maybe laughing at you, or you'll go to the reception in the gym and you're going to get misgendered by the staff, or you're just going to feel uncomfortable in that space. And like, I was like, I want to make it that space accessible and like make it feel welcoming to my community, and like take out those blocks in the way that would stop them from coming, and like make it not scary. Like, because I feel like as well, like maybe the reason we don't go to, because it's a bit scary and it's a bit daunting to be like, oh, I'm going to go to a class where I'm going to learn how to fight. Like, whereas my one is like, we have like fucking gay music in the background. We have a trans trainer, and everyone there is trans as well. So it's really comfortable. And like, it's in the Common Press, which is a queer owned venue. So it's like very like really nice feel. And I'm going to get those back up and running ASAP. I had to take a step out. I started running them last year. I did a few of them. And then when my house situation changed, where like basically like my life just went down the pan, and I was like, fuck, I've got to sell my house. So I had to do up a house in like ASAP and then sell it. So, but now I'm ready. So we're going to get those off the ground.
Excited to see those come back. What brings you joy?
What brings me joy? You, Neil. Gays. I love the gays, but also your light thing, your little iPhone light. I'm going to bring up every chance I get because I love it so much. Well, I haven't bought one yet. I need to buy one.
But so what else brings you joy? I know community brings you joy.
Yeah, community. Just like gay culture, like I like, as much as we've basically both like said how hard being queer is, I wouldn't want to be part of any other community. Like, I'm so proud and so not even proud, but just like I just love I just do it for the gays. Like I just do it for the gays. I love the gays. I just think we're the best fucking. It's the best. It's the best, and I just love being part of this community.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I know I'm the same. I would not have it any other way.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Do you have any takeaways for anyone, practical takeaways listening, for anyone wanting to create something inclusive, like Nail Transphobia, like Charlie's Angels?
Just do it. Like, there's so much. I think a lot of us wait until it's like perfect. You don't have to wait. Like, my things are still growing. Like I said, I launched Charlie's Angels like last year, and then I did a few of them, and then I just stopped for like almost a year again. So like, it's just growing. Things grow. You know, when I started Nail Transphobia, I could hardly paint a nail. But for me, it was about like the conversation rather than the nail. And then obviously I learned to paint nails. I did a course and stuff. And then I also just from painting nails for 10 years, I got good. But like, point being, like, if I sat and waited till I'm like perfect and have the perfect logo and the perfect amount of followers, like, I had no followers. I don't think I even had Instagram when I started Nail Transphobia. But like, had I not just, and like, if you even look at the first article I did, you look at like what a little mess it was. Like, it was so like amateur, but that changed my life. Like, and if I hadn't been doing it then, I wouldn't have had that article come out, and then I wouldn't have gone viral, and then I wouldn't have had a whole fucking career and a book and a documentary and a following and everything from it. For just do it. If you've got an idea, if you're thinking it, I'd say other people are probably thinking it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think there's a need for something, other people probably think there is as well. And just make the thing that you need, like make the thing that you wish you had growing up or wish you had now. And like, if you're feeling that way, other people be feeling that way.
Yeah. Charlie, this has gone so fast, and I'd like to close with this question. Do you have any words of encouragement or wisdom for anyone out there to help them get to wherever they're going in life?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, there's my advice of like, if you are like real, and this, I'm saying this because like I needed someone to tell me this, but like, if you're sick of being a victim, you don't have to be a victim anymore. That's what I learned from Pete and Nadia, and that's what I try and show people now. And like I said, and in the same way that Neil has echoed, it wasn't natural for me to be this way, but like, you just fake it until you make it, and then one day, guess what? You've made it. Like, so like, there's that bit of advice that like, you can change your narrative anytime you want to. Like, you can literally decide today, I'm done with being a victim. Like, today's the day I start like being assertive and standing up for myself and having boundaries and, you know, that sort of thing. And then also just that, like, just know as well that this is specifically for queer people, but it's, to be honest, you could apply it to like most groups, specifically marginalized groups, just that we have been through as a culture, as a community, so much and so much worse. And we are the future. We are the ones who are lucky enough to be alive today when we have it. Obviously things are hard right now, but it's still easier than it ever has been. And we are so lucky to be like, they've blazed the trail for us. And like, if they can get through everything they've got through in their lives, and or that they didn't get through, that they died from, or or whatever happened to the people who come before us, then we can get through this. We have it so fucking piss easy, and we just need to fucking get through it. But also, by default, we need to just also enjoy our lives. Like, we've been granted this because of their sacrifice, whether by choice or not. Like, whether maybe it wasn't even a conscious sacrifice, but like, we are like we are standing on the shoulders of the people who came before us, and we need to enjoy our lives as a way of like thanking them as well, because like we're living our best gay lives because of them. So yeah, I would just say that, just like that twofold thing of like, if you want to change your life, you can, but also just like enjoy your fucking life.
I love seeing you enjoy life. I love seeing you out and about and having the best time. And I'm so grateful that our paths crossed. Thank you.
Me too, Neil.
Thank you
I
for
really
saying
mean
yes.
No, of course.
And being such a brilliant guest. I love you to bits. You're so loved. I love the way you show up in the world, and
I
keep
love you
doing what
too.
you do.
I love you too. Thank you for all you do as well. Thank you for doing this podcast. And thank you for having me. And thank you for letting me borrow your light.
Anytime. I'll see you soon, okay?
Bye, my love.
Again, thank you so much, Charlie, for saying yes to being a guest on Pause and Rewind. It was wonderful to hear how things are picking up for Charlie as well when it comes to the work that she does with brands and the partnerships that she makes. At a time when there's a lot of work drying up, particularly for those working in DEI, those from marginalized groups, freelancers, creatives, content creators. So to hear that things are picking up is hopefully a sign of things changing and brands getting back on side. And hopefully they stay there as well, particularly with people now calling out brands for their lack of stability and consistency when it comes to supporting the LGBTQ plus community and other marginalized groups as well. And listen, there's 10 years between me and Charlie as we share here, and there's so much mutual shared experiences, particularly around tapping into softness and that not always being an option. It's come up as a topic on here, but before, and that need to almost create a bravado and a persona, a character to act as self-defense. And so that really shines through in Charlie. And while she is loved and well known for being the clapback queen, to hear about her future ambitions, not wanting to graft the way she does for the foreseeable, but not knowing what else is out there, and just kind of wanting a softer life. And those two things can exist. You can enjoy being the loud, outgoing person, the extrovert, as Charlie rightly and quite intuitively pointed out to me, I'm an extrovert introvert, and those two things can coexist. You can want the crazy, you can be the clapback queen, but you can also want softness. You also, don't deserve Charlie and so many other queer folk, and particularly trans folk, don't deserve the shit that they have to put up with, and they shouldn't have to fight back the way that they do. But unfortunately, as marginalized people, we often do, because otherwise, as Charlie said, you become a doormat. I love hearing about Charlie's love and appreciation for big brothers Nadia Melda and Pete Burns, and the influence that they've had on her life as well. Yeah, again, wonderful conversation. Charlie, thank you so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed episode 75 of Pause and Rewind. Please do continue to like, subscribe, share, comment, help us beat these bloody pesky algorithms. If there's 75 episodes to choose from, so if you haven't listened to them all, take a listen while I'm taking a break. I'll be back in February for LGBTQ plus History Month. But yeah, have a wonderful holiday season, whatever you're doing. Cheers.